Down here we have the finest in cheap coilovers. Got some Maxpeeding Rods, $300 fully adjustable racing coilovers. So I'm gonna be super competitive when we take this thing to Hoop DX. So naturally my daily driver broke, and it's the middle of another Iowa blizzard, so now seems like a really good time to fix the ball joints and install some new coilovers we got. Let's take a look at these things. I have the, we'll say the most cost efficient. When you're building a cheap race car, it's all about efficiency. And I have these, the finest in budget adjustable coilovers. I think they're like a little over 300 bucks. They're fully adjustable. They bolt right in. I can actually control my ride height, which hopefully helps, and hopefully I won't bend them when I huck this thing off the end of the track in a couple months. So let's get them installed. So basically the idea here is the same front and rear, and this is a lifted car, so even easier to get these out. But pull the bottom bolt, and there are two bolts holding the hat here, and the whole assembly just drops out. You can use a pry bar in here to kind of pry down on this situation to get them dropped, but should be easier since I'm already lifted. And there are different lengths front to rear, so pay attention to that. While we're here, this has also got some weird camber. Might be able to see that, it's a little bit positive. So we're gonna put in some extended ball joints from Paco that I ordered, and probably some new tie rod ends and boots here before it wrecks my whole front steering situation. And once that's all done, then we can align it again. Should be easy enough. Let's get to it. All right, after a pretty mighty struggle, we got this sucker apart. Lessons learned. Should definitely take your sway bar ends loose. I took this lift block out as well, since that was kind of in the way. We're replacing the tie rod ends and the ball joints anyway, so that kind of released a lot of the tension. But once we were able to get a pry bar in here, really easy to pry on. So wherever you can safely put some downward pressure, it'll drop right out of that pocket at the bottom and slip out. So now basically we're gonna do everything in reverse order. We're gonna drop our new coilovers back in, hang them from the top. We'll replace our ball joints with these new extended ones from Paco, and that should help, along with the Maxpeeding rods here. Yeah, there's quite a quality difference from the original struts to what these are. Plus we can adjust the height. That's gonna be nice. So that'll correct our camber, and correct our ride height, and it should give us a little bit better ride quality on the track and the street, since we can adjust preload. So I think there's nothing to it but to do it. Let's get this thing slammed together. All right, so we're getting both sides pretty well done. Put some new rubber on here just because things were cracking out, and the tie rod ends were pretty rough, but we'll get that all cinched as soon as we get it together. The body of the shock is a little bit larger, so again, not a big deal. We'll just put a little pressure on this lower control arm. That'll all slide right up into place. But once we got the ball joint in and got this all on, it was pretty easy to assemble. We're short one castle nut, then we can put tires on the front, basically wrap this up. We do have the two locking collars here we're gonna have to cinch down, so we have preload as well as the body of the shock. We can actually adjust the height of the car. We've got that pretty close for right now, but once the suspension settles, we can kind of decide what we want our ride height to be and figure out how much droop we need. Maybe a race application versus on the street, but he should ride a lot nicer with the adjustable preload. Very looking forward to testing that out. So all there is to do is set her down, and we're gonna basically do as I did when I did the lift the first time. We'll put the wheels on, and we'll use a flat edge or a 4-foot level to get them pretty close to parallel with the steering wheel centered. So just a matter of adjusting this jam nut and the inner tie rod threading in and out of the outer. That was kind of an ordeal, but we got it back together. You could do the same thing we did here with a floor jack. Had to put a little bit of upward pressure on that lower control arm just to get the ball joint threads to come through, but all went together pretty easy, starting with the bottom of the coilover and just working our way up, putting the spindle on last. Made that pretty easy. We'll do the alignment when we get through it. But now we are moving on to the back, which should be a heck of a lot easier. Again, this car is lifted, so you may have to pry down a little bit on a stock height car. We're just going to remove the lower through bolt here, and there are two on the top. We'll drop this thing out, slide the new one in, and cinch it. Hopefully a little bit easier than the front. But there is one cover in here you do have to remove. The other one, just at the front of the trunk there, is pretty easy to get to. I know it's a little dark, but yeah, same as the front, just two bolts drops out, and we'll take that cover off and get her done. All right, same program as the front. Took the upper control arm loose just to make things a little easier, but basically just slides up right back into the trunk, and the bottom bolt attaches right there. We'll have the new hotness in. This thing is way beefier than what came out, and we'll have the adjustable preload, which is nice. Let's get this thing hucked in. Shopcat is being very helpful. So, last step, we are going to do a very quick alignment so we can get this thing on the street. Basically, all we got to do is adjust the tie rod ends until the tip of this level and that tip are equal to the other side, or just a little bit wider up front. That'll give us just a hair of toe out. The camber's good enough for now, so I'm just going to grab another straight edge, throw it on here. This one's actually pointed in quite a bit, so we'll toe that out quick, hit the streets. Thanks for all the help, man.
Yeah, no problem.
All done. Like a proper rally car. I'm liking it. Definitely doable in a few hours in a backyard. Would be a little tougher with a jack, but I put the lift on that way, so it's not terrible. The luxurious ride of these new coilovers. Beautiful. This thing is basically made for bomb and gravel roads and ditches. So the whole plan is to take this thing to a HoopDX event and race it, and probably lose, but once I know how slow it is, we can get nitrous or whatever and make it competitive.